Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about President Trump and how one of his relatives is coming out of the woodwork to try and bash him and make him look bad. We're, of course, talking about the Mary Trump story. This is Trump's niece, and she's had some very interesting things to say about the president, which many are challenging and questioning and already thinking she's basically in it for the money. She came out with this story in the news because right now she's trying to sell a book. She wrote this supposed tell-all talking about how her family is terrible and President Trump is the worst. And it's really coming from someone who hardly even knows the president. She's using her familial relationship to get herself money and attention now, but she really doesn't know Donald Trump as much as she claims. She might have met him a few times, but they don't have any proven instances where they were seen publicly together. We've never seen any pictures of them together. Like, it's very rare that they've even been in the same room, if at all. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who don't know Trump much and they've seen him more. Like, there's celebrities who have met him, and Kanye West has known more about Trump than his niece. So the idea that this relationship is making her an insider is kind of the misleading thing that the media is going with. They're saying, oh, Mary Trump is the niece, so she must know Trump. But it's like, no, not necessarily. I mean, some people don't even know their own brothers or sisters or parents. I mean, sometimes your parents leave when you're young, or they pass away, God forbid, or, your brother could go into the military while you're still a kid. Like, just because you're related doesn't mean you know everything about a person. And in this situation, this is a chick who is Donald Trump's brother's kid. And I think he slept with like a flight attendant or something and had this kid, this one-off kid, and basically was an outcast. And I think she's a little bitter because she wasn't part of the family. And that's why she's lashing out now. She's cashing in. She wrote this book, and now she's also spreading some very, very strong allegations about the president. We're going to talk about that soon. We're going to go over the details and also check out a video where we could see this Mary Trump character in action. And it kind of shows that she seems like she's a really, really bad poker player because she's not the best liar. So we're going to get to that soon. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Recently, the Supreme Court has decided to not look at big Second Amendment cases, saying they won't hear appeals to several cases involving weapon laws. This has caused a blow to Second Amendment activists, and to combat this and to show our support for weapon owners, Beyond Patriots is doing a giveaway of their popular Second Amendment coin. Normally, these coins would retail for about $40, but now Beyond Patriots is giving these gold coins away for free just for this occasion. All you have to do is pay for shipping, which is an awesome deal for a really good quality collector item. And you'll be supporting our Second Amendment rights, which is really important, more important now than ever. So make sure you guys check out that exclusive link below. Get yourself a free coin today, only pay for shipping. And now let's get back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the Trump story. Today we're talking about Mary Trump, of course, and as this article from TMZ states, it says, Mary Trump says she heard President use the N-word and anti-Semitic slurs. So that's the big claim going around right now, and it's coming from this lady with a very, very interesting look. Kind of scary, but it's not really about appearances today, but there is some tells. Like I was saying, it's almost like watching a poker player. Like, you could kind of tell when people lie sometimes, like they look the other way, they're just fidgety, their recollection isn't perfect. And that's what seems to be going on with this story. I mean, I don't want to try and mind read this too much. I know that's not the best tactic, but the point is, she doesn't have any proof for her claims. It's just us supposing to take her word for it. She has this weird interview with Rachel Maddow, I believe, which we'll get to. But the point before we get to that is, we gotta, if we're gonna take her word for it, we need to see how she delivers and talk about a little bit of body language just to really kind of get a full grasp and see if we can even try and trust this person. Because I've heard other people say even worse claims, how, she's been accused of possibly being intoxicated or on drugs or something. Like, there's a lot of signs that she's like not all there. And also just like, she's been done up a lot for these interviews. Like, she's got some crazy stylist and makeup person, like trying to make her more appealing and just like, more of a palatable look for the cameras and for the media. And it just goes along with this whole thing. It just seems like a lot of propaganda and a lot of biasness and a lot of people just trying to go after Trump. I mean, think about it. This is coming out just a few months before his reelection. This is a person that was hardly even related or part of his family, like not a close relative, no pictures with Trump. In addition, something that some people forgot about was this is a person who had a really big meltdown when Trump won in 2016. Mary Trump had a crazy meltdown online. I believe Twitter, she posted a lot of stuff saying how bad it was. The world's going to end. He's the worst person alive. Just a total crazy, enraged kind of fit, which we saw from a lot of leftists at that time. She's a leftist. And that's another thing. It's like, okay, the other reason people want to turn this against Trump is because, oh, we want to show that his family hates him too. But that doesn't help. Like, Trump is really close with his good family members, like his kids, his wife, his daughters, their grandkids and stuff. Like, he's a strong family man. His family loves him. They support him. A lot of them work with him. Ivanka is one of his trusted advisors. Her husband works for him too. Like, he's a close family man, and he's really good with his family. They all support him. His sons support him online a lot. They have their own Twitter accounts and host shows and podcasts and books and stuff too. So the close actual people that know Trump love him. They support him. And it's only these like fringe outlier, nieces and nephews and other cousins that might come out against him a little bit. In this case, it's a lot coming out against him. But just because you're the niece doesn't mean she knows anything about him. This person has a good tweet. It says, she played Trump hate perfectly, and now she's got 2 million in her pocket, Bolton the same. It's amazing how much you can make from a book nobody who buys it will ever read or care to. Know your market. But his son-in-law and grandkids are Jewish. That's right. That's another good point. Two great points. So first of all, yeah, they're doing this for money. This is coming with her releasing a book. She probably got $1 million advance to write the book, and she's probably gotten at least $1 million since selling it. They just said she's about to sell like 1 million copies already. And like this Lex guy says, it's like, yeah, this is stuff that they're not even really going to read this book. She's pandering to the anti-Trump crowd and the liberals, people that already hate him. So they're going to eat it up and just want to believe it all if they even read the book. And then they're also going to promote these little sound bites and clips and stuff and try to act like Trump has been burned when he really hasn't. I mean, people have been talking trash about him forever. It doesn't ever really stick because it's not based on reality. And then the other point, Sophia's right to point out how, they say Trump is against Jews and he said anti-Jewish things, but it's like, dude, half his family's Jewish. His daughter is Jewish now. Their grandkids, his kids are Jewish. Like, he is very open to these religions and these other minorities too. Like, he has a lot of characters and a lot of different people from all kinds of walks of life in his family, in his friend circles, in his administration. So it just doesn't sound right at all. It sounds really phony, and it doesn't sound like something Trump would said. So I would never really take this person's word for it. But don't just take my word for it. Now let's check out the video and let's see what it says. First, the tweet says, President Trump's niece tells Mano that she's heard him say anti-Semitic slurs and the N-word. So that's the claim, like what the last one said. Let's see what she says.
Tonight, a stunning new accusation from President Trump's niece, Mary Trump, telling MSNBC's Rachel Maddow she's heard the president use anti-Semitic slurs and the N-word.
I have to press you on it a little bit. If just to ask if the president, if your uncle was an exception to that in your family, or if you ever heard him express either use anti-Semitic slurs or the N-word or other racist slurs or other sentiments like that.
Talk about a leading question. I mean, Rachel Maddow is just the worst too. I mean, just look at her. She's trying to look concerned and serious, but she's been ragging on Trump for 4 years. I mean, she's the most biased one out there. This is like a big pro-Hillary person who cried whenever the Trump won too. Like, these two both had major meltdowns when Trump won in 2016. And now they're trying to play it cool. Like, oh, yeah, we're just going to have this little story where we say he said a bunch of racist stuff. It's like, no, we remember how biased you are. We remember you guys crying and, totally losing it in 2016. So just because it's 4 years later, it's not like we don't know what's going on. They're trying to frame this up before the election, act like Trump said a bunch of anti-Semitic racist stuff, which is funny because this also lines up very interestingly with the whole Nick Cannon story. I hate to keep bringing that into other videos, but Nick Cannon said overtly racist and anti-Semitic stuff, and no one else is talking about it. Like, it's barely in the public news. I know Trump is definitely a more important person, but these are just wild accusations from a crazy person, something that Trump possibly said many years ago. I don't think it's possible, but allegedly he said some slurs many years ago. Meanwhile, Nick Cannon is saying them straight up on his podcast a couple weeks ago. And no one's mentioning it. It's not coming up on MSNBC or CNN unless it was just like one little headline talking about him apologizing or getting fired from something. But yeah, Trump gets totally hung and put out to dry just because some random person that he might have met twice said that he said a slur. It's totally outrageous and unfair.
Or do you mean this was an ambient thing in your family, but you can't say that you ever heard it from him, or did you hear it from him too?
Look at this face. Look at this face. I just don't know what that face is. She's trying to look too concerned. She's like, did you hear from him? Did you hear? She's so like weird about the question. I mean, just straight up, did he say the slurs or not? Why does it have to be so complicated? And then I think we're about to get a complicated answer from this Trumpanese. And it's just like, did he say this word? Yes or no? It's simple. Like, why do you have to go, oh, is this the family? The whole family is racist? Or did you hear ambience? Did you hear it in the air? Was it just like floating around like racist terms? It's like, no, that's not how this works. So ridiculous.
Yeah, of course I did. And I don't think that should surprise anybody given how virulently racist he is today.
Have you?
God, it's so awkward. And she just looks to the side like real shifty. And yeah, it's just, you could tell when someone has a bad poker face. They're not a professional liar. And it just seems like she's too shifty. And then to follow it up with like, oh, we know how vehemently super racist Trump is now. So should anyone be surprised he said this? It's like, no, that doesn't matter. Just say yes or no. Did he say this? When did he say it? Maybe. Do you have proof? I mean, I don't know why everyone's take her word for it. She's obviously biased against him. Like, it's like trusting your worst enemy to be honest with you when they have a news interview. It's ridiculous. And the fact that Maddow and MSNBC, and this is actually a clip from NBC covering this story on another network, it's just like everyone's on board with this BS.
Have you heard the president use the N-word and anti-Semitic slurs specifically?
Yes.
In the past, the president has called himself the least racist person there is anywhere in the world. In recent weeks, the president has seized on divisive culture wars and relied on race-baiting rhetoric to fire up his base.
I don't know what to say to that. Like, he's not racist. There's no race-baiting rhetoric. I mean, this is just liberals calling everything racist. And then back to the interview, I mean, Maddow was just asking her, did Trump say this? Did Trump say that? Why would Trump say that in front of her? Like, she barely knows the guy. Why would all of a sudden your niece walks in and he starts dropping N-bombs? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they act like he's just this crass, cursing person. And I know a lot of Democrats want to believe that, but he's also this, educated, cultured, big billionaire social climber. He's an admitted social climber. So I really doubt he would use that language so crassly, like, especially in front of everyone. I mean, just because she's a relative, again, would you say that kind of stuff in front of your own kids or other relatives? Like, yeah, maybe you'll say some crass stuff when you're just with your brother or your sister, or you're close to your mom or your dad. Like, you might say some off-color stuff once in a while, because you feel like you're in a safe place. But that's not going to be what's happening between Trump and his random niece that he barely knows. Like, he acts like it's just ridiculous. Like, why would she walks into the room and he says the N-word out of nowhere? It doesn't make any sense.
But another new round of polls shows him trailing Joe Biden by double digits nationwide and in key battleground states. A new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll finds the presumptive Democratic nominee with an 11-point national lead over President Trump.
More polls, huh? Yeah, well, remember what the polls said last election, guys. Polls said that no way and 0% chance that Trump was going to win. They had it all pegged wrong. The polls mean nothing. They're totally whack. They're totally made in a biased way. They're used to like spread misinformation. Polls aren't like revealing information to you. They're trying to influence people and get them to do certain things. And the last thing I'll say about that is, if you got a phone call and you were asked to take and participate in one of these polls, would you feel comfortable saying that you're a Trump supporter in this day and age? I mean, Trump supporters are under attack. People are going after us, libeling us, getting us fired. There's a lot of scary things that could happen if you support Trump. So if some random person calls you on the phone and asks if you're voting for Trump, what do you think the person's going to say? I think most people are just going to hang up or avoid the poll, say they don't want to participate. And especially if they're Trump supporters, like they're going to want to hide that and conceal that. So it just goes to show these polls are bogus and they were wrong before. And the fact that these news channels want to act like they're significant is just more proof that they're just totally full of it. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit that like button to get this thing shared. And until next time, have a great day.